I have a problem. I have wasted so much time on this dang thing, and I am so fed up. But here I am, 26 years old. I'm married now, been married for about a year and a half, and I feel like in some ways I am the least productive that I've ever been. And I just want to get my time back. I want to get it back for myself, for my family, for my friends, and for God. I've had this thought for so long. It especially came to my mind when I read the verse from Ephesians 5:15-16. It says, "Look carefully then how you walk, not as unwise, but as wise, making the best use of time because the days are evil." I know I'm walking as an unwise person with how I use my time, and I don't want to waste my life. I don't want to waste this gift that God has given me. And I've had this thought on and off, but I've never really done anything about it. I've tried little things here and there to curb my habits, but I've never stuck with it. This time is different. So in this video, I'm going to share with you what I've done to fix those habits, how they've changed my life, and spoiler alert, my life has gotten 70% better after fixing these habits. I've gotten so much time back. I'm excited to tell you about it. And this isn't just about productivity. It's also about my ability to be present, actually present with my wife, with my family, and with my friends. So if this is something that you've struggled with too, you're in the right place. We'll go through this together. So the first thing that I did, and this was one of the hardest things that I had to come to terms with, was cut out short form content. I was telling my wife just like 3 weeks ago that I was so excited to get home from our community group at our church, to get home to watch reels in bed. That was what I was so excited about. That was what I was thinking about all the way home. That's not good. That's not a good way to unwind. Instead of actually connecting with my wife and spending time in prayer or reading together, any of those things, I was excited. I want to turn my brain off, go into numb mode, and I don't have to think about anything or worry about anything. That was my mentality towards short form content forever. This is an addiction. This is something, a negative coping mechanism that I've brought into my life, something like cigarettes or alcohol, but we consider it to be socially acceptable. You know, it's okay to spend, 3 hours on your phone before you go to bed each night, delaying the sleep because you're worried about the work in the morning. You're using it to cope with your negative emotions. It's not healthy. So as painful as it was, I just stopped cold turkey. You won't catch me on Reels or Instagram or TikTok. For a long time, I was caught up on what things were going on TikTok and the trends and all this. And part of it was realizing, man, I'm 26 years old. I don't need to know what's going on in current culture like that. I don't need to be so integrated in the latest trends or the latest controversy. Being disconnected is actually a helpful thing. And you know what it's done? Like, to tell you the truth, this is the benefits of it. More room for prayer. The idea of praying without ceasing was incompatible with the idea of pulling out your phone every time there was a break in conversation. I mean, maybe not to that extreme, but every time there was a break in my day, I would pull out my phone and go on Reels. There's no room for prayer without ceasing. And then in some ways, I find myself getting bored, like having more thoughts. It's like, you know how people talk about how the shower is a great place. You have come up with your best ideas in the shower. There's no distractions, so your brain can actually think. And also you find yourself just having more time. I think, YouTube, you can look and see how long the piece of content that you're watching, and you can kind of allot it with the time that you have in between work or into your next event or whatever you're doing that day. But with short form content, you're scrolling infinitely. You're like, well, it's only, 30 more seconds or 15 more seconds, but it gets you in this time blender. Ever since I got an iPod at like 12 years old, I would watch YouTube and listen to podcasts going to bed every single night. So now, being 26 years old, I'm looking back at that 14 years of history of this is how my body has learned to go to sleep. And also I've had struggle going to sleep. No wonder why. But this was something that I knew had to go. And I've tried to do it a few times, but I found myself just lying in bed endlessly. I found the solution to that issue in the next thing that I did. But what this has allowed me to do by cutting out my phone, by putting my phone on my dresser and having the alarm set. And so when I wake up, I go get it, but it's not around me. We have so much more fun in the evening than we ever did before, just on our phones, back turned to each other. Like, we hang out and we chat about, our friends or life or church or whatever. And it's literally the best time. And when people talk about, when you get married, it's like a sleepover. This really is a sleepover now. It's a fun sleepover. It's not a lame sleepover when you're all on your phones. And then also we've been reading through Chronicles of Narnia. To be honest, we just read 2 books thus far because I'm a pretty slow reader. And I'm also dyslexic, so that's a little bit of an issue, but she puts up with me, and I think it's really fun to read something together. Hey, quick thing before we get back into the video. If you are struggling with online lust, and you know what I'm talking about, whether you're a guy or a girl, we all have temptations, but it's important to have accountability. And that's where Covenant Eyes comes in. It's an accountability software that will help you stay accountable. It will inform someone in your life of your internet usage, send a report to them every month, so then you can stay accountable. And it's helped so many people. I have 30 days free for you if you sign up in the link in my description. It's an affiliate link too, so you're helping out the ministry by signing up there. And trust me, it's time to stop putting this off and actually get some help. The third thing that I did was start waking up early. My wife and I, we work together. She does the administration work for the ministry, and she reaches out to people and sets things up. It's actually super, super awesome. I encourage you guys to get married and then also hire your partner too. But what I find is I love just hanging out with her, and we love chatting, that I'm not as locked in productive as I could be. And so by waking up super early, 5 a.m., I have that solid 3 hours, 2.5 hours before she ends up waking up, that I'm just locked in. And it also helps me with not having my phone in my bed when I go to sleep, because by the time I get to bed, I'm exhausted. I'm so tired. I'm ready to just conk out. Now, without spiritualizing it too much, and I know everyone has different times in the day where they're most productive. For me personally, I've found it to be a really, really solid discipline of waking up early and starting your day with that act of, God, I'm going to begin my day in a way that's uncomfortable for me, but it's because I want to serve you. It's because I want to work for you. It's because I want to spend time with you. So instead of taking that extra sleep, I'm going to submit that to you in this. And I found it to be a really beneficial practice. I really do encourage you, set an alarm and put it far away from you, so then you're forced to get out of bed. I find that if I'm forced to get out of bed, then the battle is already won. I'm not going to get back into bed. The issue is if I have my phone right next to me and the alarm goes off, I'll hit that snooze button like 14 times. The fourth thing that really helped me steal back my time was to stop waiting for the perfect thing to do. I find myself falling into this trap all the time with this channel, with my other ministry, Men on Mission, all the time, because I'm trying to come up with something that is really going to help you guys. That something is some biblical insight that's going to encourage you, that's going to inspire you, that's going to bring you closer to God. And sometimes I get bogged down in this idea that I need to come up with this perfect thing to say, this perfect thing to shoot, this perfect idea. And what ends up happening is I'm sitting at my desk and I'm not doing anything. I'm not being productive, and my time is just fading away. Meanwhile, if I just pick something and if I just moved in that direction and I gave it to God, sure, it might not be the perfect piece of content. Sure, it might not be the perfect encouragement that, you needed to hear right now, but God's going to use it in some way because I'm working for his glory. I'm giving that to him. I mean, this applies to so many areas of your life. You're trying to think about how to reconcile with a friend, and you're trying to think of that perfect thing to say. And meanwhile, you're not saying anything, and time is wasting away. Start the conversation. Make that first apology. I've seen again and again that God uses our movement, imperfect as it may be, for his glory. The fifth thing that I did, and this is really on a practical level, guys, is I stopped eating trash. Well, at least for the most part, I tried to stop eating trash. This is what would happen time and time again from the time I was, an early teen, is that I would be up late. I would be trying to work on something. I'd be writing something, some film script or something. And then I'd go to the kitchen. My parents' house nowadays, it's like going to my own kitchen. And I'm eating whatever I can find, some junk food, Doritos, ramen, mac and cheese, all these kind of things, leftovers from the fridge. And I would just binge. I'd binge like crazy. And then I would wake up in the morning and I'd feel absolutely awful. I'd feel so sick to my stomach. And the first couple hours of me being awake were me just dealing with the ramifications of what I ate last night. Well, in retrospect, I can see that that was definitely a coping mechanism. I ate all that to numb the negative feelings that I was experiencing, feelings of anxiety or insecurities, to just feel some pleasure of the food. But not only did that negatively impact my health, but the way that I felt and how I utilized my time. When habits have been developed for so long, it's not necessarily about you trying to muster up the willpower to stop, but it's you making it impossible for you to fulfill that habit. If I'm trying to eat healthier so then I can stay mobile and feel good, then that means that I don't have junk food in my house or my kitchen. The last thing that I did, and I'm still actually working on this, is cutting out political and comedy podcasts. Now, for me, I worked as a custodian for years, and I would always listen to, comedy podcasts and political podcasts. I just love that kind of thing, right? And there were so many different people that I listened to. But what I came to realize was the guys that are leading those podcasts, okay, especially the comedy podcasts, they're hosting them. Would my wife be happy about me hanging out with those type of guys, once or 2 times a week? Would she be happy about that? If those guys were in real life and I was like, hey, babe, I'm going to go for 2 hours to hang out with this group of guys, is she going to be happy about that? Is she going to think that that is good company? No. As much as I tried to be discerning in what I listened to, a lot of these are non-Christian podcasts, and they're talking about things that, I don't need to be listening to. When it comes to the political stuff, I love to stay up on the news and who's doing this and who's doing that. But what I came to realize is, political podcasts, and I'm going to gender stereotype here, but you might fit into either one of these. Political podcasts for boys are what, gossip celebrity podcasts are for girls, right? It's all controversy. It's just drama at the end of the day. So much of this stuff doesn't impact anything. Yeah, some of the stuff does, but you'll find out about that anyway. I'm sure your father-in-law or your wife will tell you about that stuff. You don't need to keep up with the political drama. It's just not worth it. And what I found is that when I cut that out, I feel less anxious, I feel more aware, I feel less irritable, and my time is bought back for things that actually matter, like books that build me up and build my brain, as opposed to getting in the sludge of the political zeitgeist. To be frank with you guys, I've only found this to be a positive experience. Yes, some of these things were painful in the moment because of those habits that had been built, but in terms of how it's impacted my relationship with God, man, I'm so much more attentive to his presence and prayer, just in the little things, little prayers that I'll, just say on the regular that I wouldn't really think to, because I would be like, oh, I'm just going back on Instagram, where my mind is numbed out. When you stop becoming numb and you become sensitized to the world, you begin to bring a lot more to God, I find. Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, I'd encourage you to subscribe, because I'm putting out new videos all the time, equipping you to follow Jesus daily. If you want to support what I'm doing here, join on Patreon down below. Thank you to everyone who supports on there. It is a huge blessing. I appreciate you guys checking out this content, and I'll see you next time. God bless.